as you settle here, just start to allow your breath just to slow and to soften and to deepen. Just starting to connect with that slightly deeper belly breath. Feel your tummy rise and fall. And as you exhale, just become aware of that softening around the front of the rib cage. Continuing with that slightly slower breath, just start to become aware of each point of your body against the mat. Trying to feel centred, and the weight of your body just sinking a little heavier with each breath that you take. Start to become aware of your position, the weight through either side of your body. Sinking the soles of the feet against the mat. Allowing the thigh just to sink a little heavier down into the hip socket. And as you bring your attention to your pelvis, just starting to gently rock your pelvis forwards and backwards. Just a small movement to begin with. As you draw your tailbone in, the lower back softens against the mat. As you release your tailbone away, just starting to find a very slight lift around that lower back. And trying to keep that weight even through either side of your pelvis as you just take that rock forwards and backwards. Starting to become aware of how that movement feels for you today. And then just stilling that movement, find that point in between the two where you're settling your pelvis into its neutral position. Think about the length, the natural curve through your spine, and just allowing the back of the shoulders to fall and sink heavy against the mat. Finding a little bit of length into the neck, the back of the head falling heavy. And then just floating your arms so they lift above your shoulders. And with your breath in, feel your hands reach up towards the ceiling as the shoulders lift away. And with your exhale, feel your arm just sinking and falling heavy down into the shoulder socket. And again, we breathe in as your hands lift. And as we exhale, the arm sinks back down. Taking one more here, that breath in, and we lift. The exhale as we release. As you then feel that width of the upper back against the mat, turn your palms towards one another. This time with your breath in, reach one arm towards the wall behind you as the other arm lengthens down by your side. And with your exhale, floating your arms back over your shoulders. The breath in reaches the other arm away, the other arm lengthened down by your side. The exhale as you lift your arms. As you reach that arm overhead, just become aware of that range of movement you've got today at your shoulder. We make sure as we reach that arm away, we feel the ribs just soften and draw down a little so we don't start to feel the spine wanting to move or lift away from the mat. Focusing that movement just on the mobility and the movement at the shoulder. Feeling the air filling the sides of the lungs, allowing those ribs just to expand and open a little with each of those movements. With one more to each side, that breath in as we reach away, that exhale as you lift back, finishing here. As your arms lift back over your shoulders, just feel them sink heavy back down into the shoulder sockets again. And from here, just feel the heaviness of your pelvis against the mat. As you take a really small movement with your exhale, both knees move very slightly over to the side of the room. As we inhale, we bring our legs back to centre. And over to the other side, exhale as they move. We inhale as we draw back. Just focusing on that mobility into the hip as we start to build our sense of stability, finding our range of movement. Almost feel us slightly heavier and more connected through that opposite side of the pelvis as the knees move over to the side of the room. As you exhale, just feeling the abdominals just really gently engaging and supporting that stillness of your spine and your pelvis as you focus in on that movement and that mobility at your hip. Finishing there, and as you come back to centre, just gently lift one foot away from the mat. Come into that single knee fold. Make sure you don't feel your lower back softening against the mat, so we keep our neutral spine in our pelvis. As you then lift your other foot away. We now focus just on our mobility at our hip again, but this time with some toe taps. We exhale and tap down, and we inhale as we lift our leg back in. Just quite slow and controlled. We're making sure we're not feeling that lower back lifting. So with the exhale, again, find that sense of the ribs drawing down, allow the abdominals just to deepen as we work on that movement. On your next one, as you tap your foot down, allow both arms to reach towards the wall behind you, floating your arms back as you draw that leg back in. Exhale, tap down, reaching the arms away. Inhale as you lift back. Feel that length through the spine, the movement into the shoulders, into the hip. If that's feeling okay for you on your next one, as you exhale, taking both feet down together as you reach away, inhaling as you lift back. If that feels too strong, if you're feeling anything coming into that lower back, just step it back down, either to your single toe taps or even place a foot on the mat and alternate and work on that movement from there. Just really focus in on how your body feels and how you're moving. Let's do 2 more here. Exhaling, reaching away, tapping down, inhaling as we lift back. Last one here. Bringing your arms all the way down by your side, placing your feet back down onto your mat. Now working on some movement through your spine with some spine curls. So really feel the weights evenly placed through the soles of your feet. Nice and active through your arms as your hands reach down towards your feet. As you exhale, just start with that tuck of the tailbone, that lift of the pelvis, as you begin to peel your spine away from the mat, one vertebra at a time, aiming to come to about the tips of the shoulder blades. Taking a breath as you pause here. Using your exhale, softening from the breastbone, one vertebra at a time, lengthening back down to the mat. Keep that tailbone tucked right until the end. As it touches down onto the mat, you release away, the pelvis finds its neutral again. And again from here with the exhale, lifting away, bone by bone. Feel those knees reaching forwards and start to feel that work, that muscles active into the glutes and the hamstrings. Taking a breath at the top. Use your exhale into that movement, lowering back bone by bone. On our next one, we're going to include some arm movements into our spine curl. With the exhale, we lift away. With our breath in, floating the arms towards the wall behind you, or just about in line with your ears. Leaving your arms where they are. Exhale as your spine lengthens back down to the mat. With that breath in, floating your arms back and down by your side. Again, we exhale, we lift through the spine. We breathe in, reaching those arms as far overhead as you can without feeling the spine moving. Leaving your arms there. With your exhale, we lengthen back. Keep that feeling of those knees reaching forwards that way, even through either side of your body. Breathing in as you bring your arms back down by your side. On your next one, maybe float your heels away so the weight's just even through the front of your foot. Keeping the heels lifted, again with the exhale, working through the spine. Taking that breath in, this time just bringing the arms above your shoulders. Keeping the heels lifted as you exhale, as your spine comes back down to the mat. As you breathe in, take your heels and rest your arms back down by your side. And one more here. Lifting the heels, exhale, the spine moves. Breathing in, lifting the arms just above your shoulders. With your exhale, lengthening your spine back down to the mat. Resting your heels back down, and this time taking your arms towards the wall behind you. As you lift your arms above your shoulders with a breath in, as you exhale, continue to reach forwards and then begin to lift your head, your neck, your upper spine away, bone by bone, reaching towards your feet, your gaze towards your knees as you take a breath in. As you exhale, start with the lift of your arms and then lower back through your spine, bone by bone. Rest your head down and then reach the arms overhead again. We breathe in as you lift your arms, continuing to reach forwards. Exhale as you lift your spine into that curl up. Reaching your fingers towards your feet. Your shoulder blades are lengthened on the back of your rib cage. When you're ready, you begin with the lift of your arms and you lengthen your spine back to the mat. Try not to feel any tension into your neck. Really focus on that mobility, that movement through the top of your spine. As you exhale, feel the tummy deepen and allow those ribs to glide forwards towards the top of your pelvis. Taking your breath, holding that position. Exhale, lifting the arms, then lowering back down through your spine. On your next one, we lift the arms. We come into our curl up. We're going to hold here for a moment. You're going to reach opposite hand over. Feel the upper spine turning a little as you do so. Drawing back to centre. The other hand reaches over, head, neck, upper spine rotates very gently. We draw back to centre. And then with that exhale, floating the arms, we lower back down to the mat. Bone by bone, reaching the arms overhead. Okay, we're going to do 2 more here. Gaze towards the knees, find that length and lift through your spine. As you take that gentle turn, make sure the pelvis doesn't respond to that movement. You're just feeling that rotation through the upper spine. Feel heavy through the soles of the feet, through the back of the pelvis as you move. Use your exhale as you lower back, sending those arms away. And one last one here, floating the arms, head, neck, upper spine lifts, ribs draw forwards, keeping that small gap between your chin and your chest. Opposite rib glides towards opposite hip as you take that arm reach over. Just pause here for a moment longer, really allow those abdominals to engage to support you as you move. And then we lower back. Taking those arms overhead, rest your head down, then just sweeping your arms all the way out to the side. Take them down into a low V, turn your palms towards the ceiling. From here, let's bring your feet, your lower legs and your inner thighs, they're glued together. Just check in that you're into that neutral spine and pelvis. As we exhale, allow your pelvis to roll as you take your legs over to one side. Taking a breath here as we pause. With our exhale, rolling the pelvis, draw your legs back to centre. Over to the other side, we exhale, the pelvis rolls, the legs are glued together, allow that top foot to lift and roll away from the mat. Take a breath as you pause. Use your exhale as you draw back. Allow your upper body to be your guide. So if you feel that your shoulders are wanting to lift away from the mat, don't come quite so deep into that movement through the lower body. Drawing back. Feel the exhale, allowing the abdominals to deepen to support that movement. Feel that top knee, that top hip reaching away as you really open out through that side of the body. You might find you're getting a stretch or feeling a release through that lower back. If we're feeling okay here, as you come back to centre, you can lift your legs into your double knee fold, gluing the legs together and continue with that same controlled movement from here. Maybe finding a little more abdominal connection and support with the legs lifted as you just begin to load the spine. Still using that exhale, still feeling that top knee, that top hip reaching away and feeling really heavy, connected and still through that upper body. Let's do 1 more of those to each side. Exhale as you move. Breathing in to pause. Exhaling as you draw back. Last one here. Feel that opposition, that opposite shoulder, that opposite knee, almost reaching away from one another. Gently drawing back to centre. From here, keeping the legs lifted. Allow the heels to connect as the knees open slightly to the side of the room. Just lengthening your arms down by your side. Keeping the legs in that slight turn out. With your exhale, just send one leg fully away from your body. Use your inhale to draw that leg back in and allow the heels to connect. Exhale, the other leg fully lengthens away. Inhale as you draw back. If that's too strong through your lower back, just take one foot down onto the mat and alternate that movement from there. Placing each foot down between each movement. Or staying in your double knee fold, keeping the abdominals supporting you, the pelvis and the spine still, as you work on that movement into the hip, into the knee. Stability of the spine and the pelvis. If you'd like to, from here, lifting head, neck, upper spine into a curl up as you rest your hands gently either side of your legs. Use your exhale to send one leg away, gently drawing your leg in. Inhale as you come back to centre. The other leg draws in, the other leg lengthens away. With that exhale, we inhale as we draw back in. So working on our full single leg stretch here. If you're tucking that leg slightly in towards you, just make sure the pelvis doesn't respond to that movement. Try to keep that feeling of lift through your spine without feeling you're really tensing your neck. Taking a rest or stepping it down as and when you need to. Okay, once more with each leg. lengthening away, using that breath. As you finish that last one, the legs are lifted. Gently lower, head, neck, upper spine, back down, arms down by your side. Place one foot at a time back to the mat. You can always take a gentle turn of your head from side to side. And then just allowing your arms to come back down by your side again, palms towards the ceiling. Taking one foot away from the mat into that single knee fold. And let's just work on a really gentle knee circle from there. Allowing any tension, any tightness in the hips to release. Feel that thigh falling heavy down into the hip socket. And then take that knee stir around in the other direction. Just be aware of the other leg of the pelvis, keeping all of that really still, just focusing in on that mobility, that movement at the hip. And then as you feel that, place your foot back down as you float and lift your other leg away. The thigh falls heavy and we just take that stir, that gentle knee circle from there. Feel that thigh just sinking a little heavier with each stir, with each circle around. And then taking that round and in the other direction. As you still that movement, place your foot back down onto your mat and taking your feet just slightly wider apart. As you exhale, allow both knees to fall over to one side. Feel the pelvis maybe lift and respond to that movement. Just feel those legs heavy. With your inhale, drawing back to centre. And continuing that movement as you exhale, the legs fall heavy over to the other side. With your inhale, you draw back. Just taking that at your own pace and with your own breath. If you want to pause and hold it there for a moment, then do. Just allowing that breath to slow, to lengthen and to deepen again. Feel that width of the collarbones, the back of the shoulders heavy, the head just sinking heavy against the mat. And one more of those to each side. Exhale, the legs fall heavy. Inhale as you draw back. Finishing off with that last one. And as you draw back to centre, just gently hugging your knees in towards your chest. Taking that hug and then maybe a release. Just feel the lower back respond to that movement. Hugging in and releasing away. And one last time. As you finish that last one, taking your feet back down to the mat, your arms down by your side. And just finishing off as you lie here. Again, focusing in on how your body's feeling against the mat. See if you can remember how you felt at the beginning of the session.